Hi guys, welcome to today's video. My name is Ajane for those of you who are new to the channel. If you are new, I would love for you to subscribe. I do a lot of social work content, a lot of professional content, and also a lot of lifestyle, daily living, daily vlogs, travel vlogs, videos. So if you are interested in any of those things, please check out my channel and make sure that you subscribe, that you like, and you comment on the things that you want to. All right, so let's get straight into the video. So as you guys can tell by the video title and also the thumbnail, we are going to be talking about 5 key interview things that I feel like you should know when you're about to go into a social work or pretty much any type of professional interview. So if you are wanting some tips or some suggestions, my personal experience, I would love to share that with you guys and be able to provide you with some insight on how you can possibly crush or succeed or feel really confident going into an interview, especially if you're a social worker, because that is what I am. I am a master's level social worker and I have my license, so I am an LMSW. So the first thing is obviously looking up the job. So if you've applied to this job, you've already kind of like looked at the job responsibilities, the job details, job description, maybe some of the qualifications that they do have or they require for you to already obtain, or there might be a period of time where they ask you to get your license or a certain certification in the process of the hiring, or maybe 90 days within your first 90 days at the job. So I think that it's important to make sure that you're not passing or glazing over any of those details. It's super important to be super aware of what the job is actually asking you and requiring of you, so that you aren't shocked when the time comes for them to get or receive these qualifications or these certifications or a copy of your license or whatever the situation may be, that you're not surprised by that you've kind of already have it prepped. I would always suggest, if you're going to have an interview over the phone or on Zoom or in person, that you always have all of your documents, things that they have required of you, so that you can easily have those accessible to you, so you can have those for your reference, because obviously it's your life, so you should know when you got certain things or when you obtained your degree. But nervousness is real, anxiety is real, and sometimes we forget little details like that. And so it's good to have your resume in front of you. It's good to just know what's expected of you. I would send out an email, if possible, to the person who's hiring you. Maybe it's HR, maybe it's a director, maybe it's a supervisor, and ask them, is there anything specific that I should bring to the interview or provide you at the interview? Is there anything that you would want to know during the interview that I can already kind of have prepared? It's no shame in asking questions and inquiring more information, so that you can be the best that you can be when you have your interview, so that you don't feel flustered, so that you aren't taken off guard. So I think that it's fair for you to ask and inquire questions regarding the interview. Are you going to want physical documents? Am I going to have to send you documents? Do you prefer the documents to be sent before the interview process starts, so that you can take a look at it, and any question that you may have regarding my resume or regarding my references or my certifications, I will be able to answer those at the interview. So it's good to just know what you're getting yourself into. Ask questions, ask the person who you've been communicating with, and just get further details if possible. Know what the job that you're actually applying for, kind of read about it, kind of go over it a few times, just to make sure that you're clear about what the job is asking you. And if you actually want to do that, and if you meet those qualifications, or if that's something that you feel like you can achieve or obtain over a certain amount of time, that you grow your confidence in. So I would say, like, go outside of the box sometimes and apply for jobs that you don't think you might be qualified for. They may still take an interview and might remember you later on down the line if you reapply, or they may have another opportunity available or opening that you may not be aware of at the time. So it's always good to just interview, get those skills up, get those interview skills up and sharpened. And I think that it's good practice. I think that it's good to interview every few years, especially if you've been at the job, so that you aren't kind of like taken out of the game or out of practice of interviewing, because that's a big part of getting your next job or continuing your education in the field and learning about new opportunities that might benefit you. So while you're going through the job description and everything that they're requiring of you, this is the perfect time to kind of write down any questions that you might have, anything that is concerning to you, anything that you want clarification on, so that you at the end of the interview can then ask them questions. And then while they're going over the job description, maybe you can just be crossing off things that you have questions about that maybe they have went into further detail about over the phone or in person, so that those questions are answered and you're not asking them the same questions over and over again throughout the interview or at the end of the interview when they've already answered it. So just make sure that you're kind of like keeping up with questions that you have. Write them down. It's okay to bring a notepad in. It's okay to bring a piece of paper in, or maybe even on your phone to say, hey, I have a few questions written down. Do you mind if I answer or ask them throughout the interview, or do you prefer me to keep my questions towards the end? And that's okay. It's okay to ask questions during an interview. It's okay to interact. It's supposed to be a dialogue. It's not supposed to be one-sided, especially with social work interviews. So maybe some other professions, they don't want you to really interact or talk, but I think that it's important as a social worker to inquire and to wonder. So yeah, let's ask questions, guys. So learn about the job, ask questions, create questions about the job description, about the certifications, about the qualifications, about the things that you'll have to already have been aware of or have knowledge about. So get an understanding of what the expectations are and how or what you need to do in order to meet those expectations. That's one of the biggest tips that I have. Or second important thing is to feel confident. Wear clothes that make you feel good, that make you feel comfortable, that aren't digging into your skin, that aren't making you feel super constricted or claustrophobic, but make you feel confident, that make you feel strong, that make you feel good about yourself. And so wear something that's flattering to you. And you can always look at maybe the job's Instagram or their Facebook page or their website to kind of see what the dress code is. And so maybe you can also dress like that or dress more appropriate to their style. I would always say dress your best at an interview, but also just be comfortable and also be confident. It's important that when you go into the interview that you feel good, so that that relays and that transpires throughout your dialogue, throughout your body language, throughout your vocal and your tone. And so I think that's super important, is to go in with confidence, to already kind of have this idea that this job is mine, I'm going to get it, I'm going to succeed, I'm going to be able to feel comfortable. Because honestly, for me, I go into the interview like I'm interviewing you. I already know what I bring to the table. You know what I bring to the table, otherwise you wouldn't put me this far. So now it's my turn to ask questions, because I plan on being here more than half of my life. You know, like we spend 40 hours at a week at our job. We spend a lot of time working with our colleagues and coworkers and patients and clients. And so it's important for you to feel comfortable in that environment. So go in there feeling like a boss, or, you know, feeling empowered and motivated to really, they have to sell themselves to you. You're not necessarily always going to sell yourself, because some people already want you. They just need to do this for a formality. So go in there with confidence, feel good about yourself, lead yourself with encouragement. You know, lead yourself with encouragement. Talk yourself up throughout the interview. Talk yourself up before the interview and after the interview, and know that no matter what happens, as long as you presented your best self, that's okay. And if you mess up throughout the interview, if you forget the question, or if you stumble, or if you forgot some information, or you forgot something that they asked you to bring, it's not the end of the world. Just recuperate, recover, push through, because resilience is one thing that a social worker needs to be. And so you need to be able to say, I didn't have it this time, but next time I will. Next time I'll remember. Next time I'll be more prepared. Next time I'll be more confident. And that's life. You know, it happens. And as a social worker, especially if you're going through a social worker interview, it's important that everybody has grace throughout that time. So just go in there with talking yourself up, feeling confident, wear something that makes you feel confident, makes you feel good, and talk yourself up. Be your own hype man or woman, okay? Otherwise, I'll do it. You got this. You got this. So a third important thing that I wanted to share with you is that be prepared, especially in current times, especially in social work interviews. You might have to go through a process. You might have to have several different interviews before you're actually able to be offered the job. And so I would definitely suggest that maybe the first interview, be prepared for a group style interview. This means that there's going to be multiple people in your interview. Sometimes there's mentors, sometimes there's supervisors, directors, HR. Maybe it's a combination of all of those type of people. I think the most people I've had in one interview is maybe 5 other individuals that worked. So they were a lot of the supervisors, different areas in my agency at the time. And so yeah, there might also be a peer or potential or future colleague there interviewing you, maybe another social worker who's going to ask you questions that they've experienced, and how you would respond, or how you would apply your skills to handle a certain conflict or issue that might come up in their workspace or environment. And so I think that it's important that you be prepared for a group interview and don't be intimidated. This is going back to number 2, is to have confidence in yourself. Don't be intimidated if there's multiple people in the room, because more than half the time they're all not paying attention. And also they also usually have set questions that they already have written out that they just take turns asking you to answer. So usually they just kind of like jot down their specific answer, but don't be intimidated by that. I'm personally not intimidated by that because I had to have a group interview in order to do ambassador job when I was in my undergrad, and then I had to have a group interview in order to get into my accelerated program for my BSW. And so that really prepared me. I had to have an interview for my first job outside of my BSW degree, and then I had to have a group interview for my current hospital job. And so I just want to prepare you for a potential that there might be one person in the interview and then other people might filter in or trickle in, or they might all come in at one time. So I think that it's important for you to kind of be aware of that. And you can ask that in the first thing when I'm asking you to inquire about the job, to speak with the HR representatives, to ask questions about the interview style and process. And so yeah, I think that it's important for you to know that there might be a group interview, or you might even have to have several different interviews. Some jobs require that you speak with a representative, maybe HR initially, and they do a screening process. And if they feel like you might be a good fit for the organization, they might actually put you through with your potential supervisor or director. And there might be 2 people or 1 person in that interview. And then the third interview might be your potential colleagues. It might be kind of like a peer style interview with a director or supervisor or a lead there that might be asking you questions. So just know that it's okay, that, like I said, a lot of people are just wanting to, they know that it's intimidating and they know that it can be fearful or anxiety written, but I think that it's important to just have confidence and just have confidence in your skills. Take your time and answer the questions. Don't overthink it. But that is a potential that you might have to have a group interview, or you might have several interviews leading up until before they ask you to accept the job or they offer you the job. So yeah, that's just the reality. So be prepared. Don't say I didn't warn you. Number 4 is take your time. Take your time is super key. Don't talk too fast if that's not you. Don't rush things. If you forget a question midway while you're talking and maybe you kind of like get really into your story, like, fudge, I don't even know what the original question was anymore. Say, I'm sorry, I just got really into telling you about that. Can you repeat the question for me? And they might be like, oh yeah, I totally forgot myself. I've had that happen multiple times in an interview, and I'm like, can you just repeat the question for me again, so I can make sure that I'm answering it appropriately, or that I'm answering everything that encompasses the question. So it's okay. It's okay to ask them to repeat a question. It's okay for them to ask them to tell you what the question is again in the middle of you explaining, or middle of them explaining a situation or scenario. And I just want to make that just like more comfortable for you. So it's okay to say, I kind of need a little bit of time to think about that. Wow, let me think about that. Let me ponder that. Let me recall a situation that is similar to that I've had to deal with or handle. And pause, recall, take your time, breathe through it. It's okay to have silence in an interview for a little bit. It's okay to say, oh, let me think about that for a little bit longer. Do you mind while I think about that if we go to another question? Or does anyone else have anything? Or can we bring that one back at the end of the interview? It's okay. It's okay to do that. It's okay, because at the end of the day, I want people to feel like they have power over the interview process as well. I know that it's for the job. I know that they're the ones that offer you the position or the job, but I want you to know that you also have a say in how this interview process goes, and that you have control. You know, just like our clients have a right to decide for themselves and to make decisions and to refuse things, you also have those rights in an interview. You're a human being as well. And so if you need time to think about something, or if you need a question repeated, or if you need to reroute it, that's okay. If you need time to pause and just have a moment of silence, or if something is affecting you or triggering you, then just be honest with them. Tell them the truth. Tell yourself the truth, and be very vocal. Advocate for yourself when you need a time to take a break, or if you need, time to reprocess your thoughts or to slow down. And yeah, I think that's important, because there's times when you do get distracted and you need to just kind of Take a deep breath and say, can you repeat that question for me again? Number 5, the questions are about you. So you know yourself best. You are your best advocate. You are your best example. So just be confident in you. Be confident in your skills. Be confident in what you can do, in your ability, in your future ability. If you don't have the typical preferences or the typical qualifications or certifications or background that you're currently interviewing for, tell them, I've gotten this far because I'm determined, because I'm motivated, because I can teach myself, because I am inspired to go out into the community and talk to people and learn new things and push myself. I want to push myself and continue to learn and grow. And so if you don't have those things, say, is there a trial period or a probationary period that I can show you that I can do this, that I can be who I think and know that I am capable of being for this position, that I can definitely benefit you at this place, at this job, in this position, and impact the colleagues and impact the patients. So I think that's important. It's just like advocate for yourself. Sell yourself. I know that I said you don't really have to, but like at the end of the day, push yourself. If this is something that you really want, go for it. Don't be scared. Don't be timid. Stick up for yourself. Always be honest about what you can't and cannot do. If you're not comfortable doing something or continuing education or getting your license, say that so that you guys can move on from each other and you can go your separate way and look for another job, or they can find someone who's more suitable and wants to do those things. But I think that it's important to be honest with yourself and to know your limits and to know what you can do and what you're not comfortable doing. So you know yourself best. You know what you bring to the table, and it goes back to the confidence thing. If this is something that you want, push it through, push it through and don't give up. If you don't get accepted to the job, reapply later on, ask them about that, or continue to push through and look for other jobs, other opportunities, because when one door closes, that means another one is ready to open for you. So you just gotta continue to push through, guys. Be natural, trust your instincts, trust your first response and guts, and just go with that. It's important to just trust yourself throughout this process. You know yourself, you know how you would handle certain situations, and it goes back to the honesty thing. Just trust in what you bring to the table, what you can offer, how you respond to these situations, because probably more than half the interview will be scenarios, questions on how you can apply your skills or what you would do in this situation, or if you recall a time that you've had to deal with a situation or a circumstance where you've had to deal with conflict or difficulties or challenging patients or a challenging coworker or a challenging supervisor. And what it is that you would do, how you respond, how would you act, what is the protocol that you would normally go through at your current job, or those are the typical questions. And conflict resolution. So scenarios, conflict resolutions, your job experience, how that can possibly be applied to the current job that you're applying for. And I think that's pretty much a lot of what the interview is going to be. So just look up some questions and prepare yourself as best you can about what they possibly might ask. It's easy to look on YouTube. It's easy to look on Google, some basic interview questions, and kind of prepare as best you can. Number 6, guys, is to make eye contact with whoever you're talking with. If you're in a group interview, who's ever talking at that moment, try to make eye contact with them. If you are responding at that point, try to make eye contact with everybody in the room. Try to have a relaxed presence about you. It's that confidence thing. It's the motivation thing. It's you feeling good in whatever you're wearing, that you just feel good about yourself. So just make eye contact, smile. I know that we're wearing masks in interviews sometimes, but smile if you can. They can still tell if you're smiling when it's appropriate. Don't be like, yeah, I had a patient die. Guys, it's a little off, okay? It's a little off. So smile when it's appropriate. Smile when you feel like it's necessary, and have fun with it. It's all a learning process. It's also going to add to your skills, your interviewing process. And I just hope that you guys do your best, that you feel confident, that you feel empowered, that you go and shoot for the stars and don't settle for anything less than you deserve and what's best for you. Keep calm, take your time, have fun with the interview, ask questions. It's okay. I hope that you guys are well. Happy Social Work Month. I'm super excited to be sharing some tips with you guys. I hope that this was helpful when preparing for an interview. I know that a lot of you who watch my videos are currently in your MSW program, or you are in your BSW program and you're kind of like maybe in limbo with your practicums, or you're currently about to go into your practicum or whatever situation may be. I know that a lot of you are currently in school obtaining your degree or degrees. So I'm proud of you. Keep going. We need more professionals in the field. This is the perfect time for us to really shine and to really contribute to our communities. Just keep pushing through. Also take self-care. But I hope that you guys are doing well. If you have any questions about interviews, leave your questions down below. I'm more than happy to answer what I can and just help you succeed. Let's get these jobs, guys, and let's raise some standards for the social work community. And I love you guys, and I hope you're doing well. Bye.